Hello, and welcome to another exciting, maybe interesting episode of Two Guys Talk About. My name is Jared, and this is Matthew. Say hello, Matthew.
Hello. I'm not going to repeat the joke from last time. Sorry, I refuse to. It's a one-off joke. I'll never ever do it again. I promise. Maybe next time.
Can you hear me okay? I just remembered I actually have a good microphone. I should be using a good microphone instead of using my laptop microphone.
I can hear you okay. I will entertain the folks while you switch over.
While I switch over, can you tell them what we're going to talk about today, okay?
We're going to talk about... Oh, you see, he took off his headphones, so now I can say almost anything. Okay, so what kind of Twitter joke can we pull on Jared? Everyone Twitter Jared right now. It's Jared L. Bell. Oh, dang it. It was worth a try. I thought he couldn't hear me right now, but apparently he can. So anyway, yeah, we're going to talk about Macs and Apples and iPhones and computers. And WWDC was, they had the keynote a couple of days ago. Oh, I should probably look at the camera. That's one of those things they teach you in them broadcast schools, right? And then, so, hi. Sorry, I'm looking at Jared. He can't see me. All right. Anyway, you can't see him. Hi. So, what was I saying? Who knows? WWDC, where Apple likes to announce all of announced stuff. So they announced new software, the new operating system, OS 10.10, and then the new iPhone operating system, my iPhone, not my new iPhone, but my iPhone, iOS 8. So they announced them. They will be coming out in the fall. And that's why the horse fell in the mud. Ha 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 ha. Oh, Jared just put on his headphones. He can hear me now.
Is that better?
Yes, it is better. Yes.
All right. Yeah,
I'm sitting here. I'm looking at.
I'm so loud.
Oh.
Talking so loud. So I have my microphone. See, it's fancy. I have this one pop filter here.
Yeah, but it's like pointing at the computer.
That's because you don't talk into the top. You talk into the side.
Oh, you fancy tech people.
Yeah, I'm a fancy tech person. I just need to actually just readjust it. Hold on. I'm going to mute myself so you don't hear that.
Okay. But you see, we just heard it because you just did it. So it kind of defeated the purpose now, didn't it?
I'll defeat your purpose if you're not careful.
I'm used to that. You probably should have defeated my purpose back when I was not knowing what I was talking about by myself.
You did fine.
I've never had to run a show by myself. I felt powerful.
You felt powerful. All right. So one thing that we want to talk about is, well, actually, the thing that we're going to talk about is obviously these new things. We've got OS 10 Yosemite and iOS 8. And yes, they say that's coming this fall, but that's only for America. In Australia, they're coming in spring, so that's what we'll...
Yes, well, when they say fall, they really mean like late December. So
I think it's funny. I think it's funny how you guys call it fall when technically the name is autumn. But anyway.
Autumn. No, wow, I should probably look good now that I'm on camera. I'm eating again. I know. I said I wouldn't eat, but I'm eating again. You know, they usually. Oh, there you go. They usually do the iOS update around the same time that they launched the new iPhone. Yes. Usually like a week or two before. New iPhone typically comes out in September, maybe October.
Yes.
So we'll probably see iOS 8 in that time frame. But the
usually
OS,
I think what about a week before or something like that.
Yeah, but iOS. No, I'm sorry. My brain is tired. OS 10 usually comes out at the last second, so usually it comes out November, December. So
yeah,
we'll see when that actually ships. Typically, it's a bit longer than iOS.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so we're just going to go through. There was a huge announcement. It was a 2-hour keynote, just jam packed with just so much information that we're not going to get through that. We don't want to. I don't want to spend 2 hours talking about it because we've already spent probably more than that talking about it since the event. So we're just going to go through and we'll just pick some highlights. I think from each of the announcements we had. Tim Cook, Apple basically divided the keynote into three sections. First, they talked about OS 10. And then they talked about iOS 8, and then they talked about the developer part of iOS 8 and all that kind of stuff. So there's a couple tidbits from the developer stuff, some stuff that Matthew and I probably didn't have a clue about. Well, actually, he probably has. Matthew has a bit of clue about it because he's done a bit of programming.
Bit.
But
barely,
yeah. But we'll go through each of these features. So, talking about Yosemite, they were actually quite funny. I thought Apple laid on the humor a little bit more than they normally do this time. And Craig Federighi, he's an excellent presenter. I think out of all of the presenters that come up on stage that Apple puts up there, I think he is the most calm and confident and funniest one that they got there. Would you agree with me on that, Matthew?
Yeah. He's so natural that the jokes that he pulls off are obviously rehearsed, but they don't feel rehearsed. They feel very natural and like they just roll off. Other people that you can tell that they're telling jokes. You can tell that okay, right now I'm going to tell a joke, and then and it's not as funny when that happens. He's very natural with his delivery.
Agreed, and you see that Tim, well, obviously is a good CEO, doesn't he stumbles over his words a few times. He's not the best public speaker, but you know what? He obviously realizes this, and so he was smart enough to basically hand the show over to Craig, and Craig just I think did a magnificent job. I was excited every time I got to see him, get to see that hair, that amazing hair.
Which apparently takes it takes a leaf blower and some hedge trimmers sometimes to keep it in play.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, that was a funny joke when they did a cutaway to a video when they were out the back and it's kind of funny. So anyway, let's talk about what they announced. So first they started off with one thing actually they didn't do this time is go spend 20 minutes talking about retail figures and stuff like that, which was a nice, pleasant surprise, and I quite enjoyed the fact that they just didn't bore us all to death with these, hey, we've sold this many things this year. I mean, they talked about it a little bit, but mostly it was straight into the products because they had so much to talk about. So we're all really excited about OS 10 Yosemite. For some reason, I just really wanted to call it Yosemite. I don't know why. It's the way
because it looks like it, yes.
Instead of I'm like Yosemite, I'm like that's an interesting name. I'm like, oh, it's Yosemite. Okay, as an Australian, I probably stupid. Anyway, yeah. So we got straight into that. So I'm excited about Yosemite. Are you excited about Yosemite, Matthew?
Just a little bit, yeah. I think I want to show you this. We're gonna visit there next fall. It has nice waterfalls and camping and all sorts of people. No. So so anyway, yeah, the operating system.
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
The operating system. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. Basically, I haven't looked over the notes. You have the notes in front of you. I made notes. These are notes that I made for myself, so for this podcast. So, really, I don't have a lot to say about Yosemite, except for two things. One, it looks different. It's basically iOS 7, but for the operating system, and I think that's really good. I think that.
But I think they did it subtly. It wasn't so much like it was like a complete departure from OS 10, 10.9.
Right.
It still looks like OS 10. It doesn't. It
has the windows. It has the icons. It feels very natural. It's just. Yeah.
they've just made it like cleaner,
Yeah.
sharper.
Flatter.
It doesn't have the grey. It's they've got the translucent menu bars and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's very nice. I really can't wait to give it a try. I've signed up for the beta, um, and I'm going to hopefully install that once I get the code to do that. So. Not on my main machine, of course. I have a separate partition with a separate installation that I'll whack it on there and have a play. Some of the bigger things that I think have changed. We've got Spotlight's a little bit different. It's now moved front and center. So for those
Mm-hmm.
of you who know what Spotlight is and using a Mac, the little magnifying glass in the top right-hand corner, instead of doing your little search up in the top right-hand corner, pops into the middle of the screen, and you can basically do your... Hey, that's me. What are you doing? Turn off. People are just going to leave the show if you keep doing things like that.
Well, I'm trying to show them where it is. It's way up there. You see?
Oh, okay. Let's have a look. Do it again.
Yeah. You see? It's that search icon way up there.
Yep. Click on it.
I'm trying, but there we
There
go.
it is. Yeah. So now it's
Yes.
going to be front and center into the screen, and they've included a lot more. You can do a lot more type of searches that you couldn't do before. It brings up Wikipedia search entries. If you're doing a search for Tim Cook, something like that, it would show up with his Wikipedia if you want to do that. And one thing that was interesting is they've now stopped using Google. It's all gone Bing.
Mm-hmm.
Bing.
That's not terribly much a surprise. And I was listening to the coverage that This Week in Tech was doing, and they're convinced that Apple will eventually do their own search, so that they don't have to curtail to any company, whether it be Microsoft or Yahoo or Google, so that they can do all of this in-house. And it makes a lot of sense for them to do that. So I did not switch back over. You should have told me that.
Yeah. Basically, all I can see is your desktop. So it's me.
There we go. There we go. I was like, why is the light not on my camera? Oh, because anyway. So so yes. What was I saying? Yeah. So what if Apple did their own search? What if Apple just kind of did it all in house? Because would Apple have their own web page that when you search for it in Spotlight, it would go to a web page where you could browse, or would it all be, that's how kind of Google does it. Yes, it has these tie-in searches, but sorry, there's too much. I have too many videos going on at the same time. 'Cause I'm looking at you, and then I've got the YouTube, which is like 15 seconds delayed. Anyway, I'll stop talking now. Anyway, it's an interesting idea if Apple would do it themselves.
Yeah, I'm just not sure whether they would. I don't know if it's a business they want to be in. It's very hard to do, and I mean we've seen obviously Google have most people Google things. I don't think I've ever Binged anything, and even they haven't got it right. I mean Microsoft has spent billions of dollars on doing search, and it really hasn't really paid off for them, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think everyone still uses Google. So is that something that Apple wants to spend money on when it's going to be too hard and take too long to get it right? I think it might be the whole Maps debacle all over again.
Yeah. So Spotlight is interesting. Yep.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. They've added a few little extra things in there. You can do like conversions now. So if you tell me something in miles or something like that, I can convert it to kilometers and know exactly what you're talking about without having to go to another website or grab my phone and use a conversion app. So I thought that was pretty nice. If they can do currency conversion in there, it would be pretty sweet too.
I would assume that they could. Yeah, it seemed very much like this. Okay, Yosemite is the iOS 7 of Mac
Of the Mac.
OS.
Yep.
And iOS 8 is basically taking a bunch of, and we'll get to this, but it's basically taking a bunch of Android features and moving it to the iOS. And there are some exceptions, but for the most part, it's like that. And I feel that the same way with Spotlight, in that a lot of these kind of features that you see on in Yosemite are really copies of other programs. So I could do everything that the new Spotlight is supposed to do. I can already do it already.
Mm.
Um, I have a program called Alfred, which is free. You can download it, and it can do all this for you. So if I switch over to my desktop, hit Control Spacebar, it pulls up Alfred, and I can search Google. I can search for I have a I can search for files. I can do all sorts of stuff already built in. I don't need it already does all those things. So it's great that it will now be built into the operating system instead of being a third-party app, because more people will use it, and it's even more featured. It even has more features that Alfred doesn't have, but it even looks like Alfred. Like if you saw, where did Alfred come up? In the center of my screen.
Yep.
And you can customize Alfred, but it comes up right here in the center of the screen, and you search, and it pulls down. It looks almost exactly like Spotlight that they showed off. So Apple has a way of looking at what other people are doing, saying that's great, and we're going to take it and run with it, and typically do it better than you did it, but
Yep.
taking this idea and basically stealing it from someone else.
Yeah, well, it seems like not that I use Alfred, but it seems like the new Spotlight is a little bit more has goes deeper than Alfred does, so it's really part of the OS.
Right.
Obviously, it is part of the OS, but I think that gives it a lot more functionality because you can bring up maps and all that kind of stuff if you're looking for people or places and stuff like that. It all shows up within Spotlight, which is pretty cool. So, but the proof is in the pudding, so we don't know until we actually get a hold of it.
Yep.
Moving on from Spotlight, let's talk about iCloud Drive next. I think that was pretty cool. Finally, we see Apple giving us what we've been wanting.
Yes.
And giving us access to not only the files that are in iCloud, which is really cool, but also giving us a decent amount of space for pretty cheap. Right now, 20 gigabytes, $40. I don't know what it is in the US, but it's $42 here in Australia for 20 extra gigabytes of iCloud storage. What? I pay $10 a month. I mean, it's $40 a year. I mean, honestly, it's not
A lot.
huge amount, I guess. Yeah. So it's not too bad. Actually, now that I think about it, it's not too bad for $40 for a whole year. But the new pricing, what is it, 99 cents a month for 20 gig and $4 a month for 200 gig. I pay more than that for Dropbox, and Dropbox has got a real issue now because not only has Apple done this with iCloud, but Google Drive is also much cheaper than Dropbox too.
So I'm looking at their website currently. Let's see if I can make this go bigger and then show it to you so that you can all see what I'm looking at. Currently, you can see Australia here. This is current pricing. 10 gigabytes is $21. Is that a year? No, that's gotta be a year.
Yeah, it's 20, yeah.
20 gigs is what you have, which is $42. Down here in America, it's $40 a year.
Yeah.
But it's now going to be $12 a year. So basically cut it in quarters, which is pretty significant. Where am I trying to? There, I'm trying to get back to there. It's pretty significant of a price difference. So they're competing head to head. I was listening to Twit and they were saying that was it Google Drive recently dropped their prices dramatically, or maybe it was SkyDrive,
No, it's
Microsoft's
Google
version.
Drive.
Google Drive recently dropped their prices significantly, and Dropbox came out and said, "No, we're not going to drop a price. We're going to stay the same price." Now Apple's dropped their price, and I wonder if that's going to put even more pressure on Dropbox to lower their price. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I really do hope so. I use Dropbox and I do pay for it. It's $10 a month and I get 100 gig, which is pretty pricey compared to what you're going to get with Apple.
Right.
Some things that are still not I'm still not certain about with iCloud is maybe sharing folders, like having a shared folder. I think that is very
Right.
important. I use shared folders with Dropbox with 20 different people, I swear, like with different parts of my business. So if iCloud didn't have that, then it seems pointless. But I mean, that said, I would probably sign up for the iCloud anyway, just for photo storage, because of the whole fact that instead of doing the whole photo stream that Apple's been doing currently, where you get 1,000 photos or 30 days just to get your photos off photo stream, it's basically all your photos, but they're using your actual iCloud data space instead of that. So that's the change they're making there. But I don't know if you read it, but they're going to be storing your full res versions of the. I should cut to myself.
Let's say, why am I saying myself? There we go.
They should. They're going to be storing the full res versions of your photos. So in their whatever resolution you take it in, and videos as well, forever for as well, basically until your storage is full. And what they're going to do is have lower res versions that are suited for your device on your device. So you take a photo with your iPhone, it's going to upload a photo to your iCloud and keep the full res version on there, but it's going to keep a lower res version on your phone. So that takes up less space on your phone, which I think is a great idea.
I totally agree. I think that that's going to be a huge win. But like you said, if you can't share, then it's really not a Dropbox killer, now is it? And I'm looking at the Apple website, which talks about iCloud Drive, and oddly enough, it's actually in the iOS 8 section. So apple.com/iOS/iOS8/iCloud Drive, which I thought was interesting. Storing files, edits you make appear on everything. Nothing about sharing, nothing about syncing files between you and someone else. They did announce that they were going to have Windows PC running Windows 8. That's interesting. Not just Windows, but Windows 8. So there will be Windows support for this, meaning you will be able to get at this from on if you're on Windows. But for me to share a file with Jared, how is that going to work? Something else that they did talk about was if I'm going to email a file, then I can I guess that was built into Mail. If I want to email Jared a file, then instead of emailing it directly to Jared, it uploads that file. If it's above a certain size, it'll upload that large file to a server somewhere and then download it on Jared's side, kind of bypassing the email system, which would be amazing. But at this point, there's more questions than there are answers, because we don't know if that's going to count towards your Google or towards your iCloud Drive storage. Is that going? How long is that attachment going to sit there on the server? Will you be able to put a time limit on it so that it can't be downloaded after a couple of days? This is all interesting. Like I said, more questions than answers at this point, but a lot of promises, and that to me is the interesting part. There's a lot of promises that Apple's made. Sometimes they don't go through, make it all the way through on those promises. So we'll see if these actually come to fruition.
Yeah, I actually like the that idea. The fact that you can now email large files up to 5 gigabytes. 5 gigabytes. I mean, imagine how long it's going to take to send that file. I'm just going to send you an email. Mm-hmm. You're probably going to have to wait 12 hours to get it.
Yeah.
So basically how that worked is if I was in Mail, so I was in Apple Mail, I could send the large file to Matthew. If he's using Mail, he's going to receive that attachment, no problems. If they're not using Mail, then what they do is they'll get an actual link to download that file. So that was good how they did it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, anything else with iCloud? Now you basically have access to your iCloud folder inside Finder, so you can. It sits in the sidebar. Click on it, and that'll show you all your files. You can put whatever file you want in there. It doesn't have to be just a Pages file or a Keynote file or anything like that. You can dump whatever you want, and you can get access to those files on your mobile devices, on your iPad or your iPhone. Um, that was one thing I thought that they could have done is they don't have an app for to just view your files. The files still have to be seen through applications. So to get to your files in Pages, you go into Pages to see all your files there. So it's still that way. It's not like Dropbox where you have your own application to view all your files. If you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Does that make
yeah,
sense?
no, that's that'll be interesting to see. I mean, they might come out with something. They didn't announce anything, but nothing saying they can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. But as far as I know, that's the way they're doing things. But it did give developers the ability to get access to those iCloud documents as well. So that's one good thing. So if you've got an application that is not an Apple application, it can have access to the iCloud documents, and yeah, you can put whatever file you want in there to access it to get into that
But again, all of this
application.
is promises. They've made a lot of promises about iCloud before that they still haven't delivered. So,
You said
um,
that. I can't remember anything that they've made promise of that they haven't
you
delivered.
know, that comment comes from me listening to MacBreak Weekly, and they talk a lot about on the developer side of things that
Okay.
really hasn't supported the developers. That basically they said, "Hey, look, here's iCloud," and the developers go, "Great, how do we use it?" And Apple said, you figure it out." And developers have tried stuff, and the sense that I have gotten from a lot of this is that is develop Apple's sense in this is let's put this out there and let's have developers figure it out for us. And when an error message pops up, Apple really doesn't know how to reply to it because they don't know what's going on just as much as the developers don't. So I think
Yeah.
that it's the back-end support that we don't see as users, but it hasn't really taken off because the developers haven't been supported. Is my understanding of the situation.
Yep. You're right, and I've heard those stories too. I'd be very surprised if Apple didn't realize that things hadn't gone quite right, and they weren't fixing it for the new release. All right, moving on. Probably my favorite feature of Yosemite is not Yosemite Sam, but continuity. What do you think of that? How awesome was that? That was like I was watching it here in Australia at 3 a.m.
Uh huh.
I had Matthew on iMessage, and I also had another friend in Australia who was also watching it. His name's Tony, and we were just Matthew didn't know this, but I was chatting with him as well. I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to two-time
You
you
were.
there.
Oh. That's
um,
okay. That's okay. I'm texting with my mom right now. So if I just sound distant, that's I'm over here texting with my mom.
sure. And I think the whole continuity thing was just blowing our little minds out of our
Hmm.
heads. We just were. My jaw was just sitting on the desk
Hmm.
because I had to keep wiping up all the slobber
Hmm.
just
Yeah.
drooling over these new features.
Yeah. I was a huge fan of it, and again, a lot of it was AirDrop now actually works. So,
Well, there's a
um,
reason why it didn't work before. I don't know if you heard that, but they were two different systems that didn't talk to
yeah,
each other. So they've had to
which
rewrite
didn't
that, I
make any
guess.
sense,
No, that's right. They wrote it themselves, but they wrote it differently.
and but named it the same thing.
That's right. Okay,
So
so now
now
it works.
So now the two airdrops, meaning what we're talking about is the airdrop on your Mac and then the airdrop on your iOS device, now actually work together. So you can airdrop items from your phone to your computer and such. So that's interesting. The other thing I think, and they had some other syncing things, blah blah blah. Really, the interesting thing to me was the handoff. It's something they call handoff, and when you are, let's say you're using something on your computer. Let's say you're in a numbers document.
Hand off.
Hand off. Oh. Jared is over here confusing me.
Sorry.
Hand off. So every time I say hand off, I need to do something like that. Just get my hands off the screen. Um, Hand off. Okay, I'll stop now. Really.
Please.
Let's say I'm working on a numbers document on my computer. I don't do anything. I pick up my phone, and there's an icon on the screen that says numbers, and I flick up, and I'm now working on the exact same document that I was over here. I don't have to send it. I don't have to, do any syncing or anything. It's literally saying that I'm working on numbers over here, and now it's going to see that over here, and it's going to work. And that works. If you're browsing, you can do that with web pages, a lot of things like that.
Yep.
It's going to
So
be
basically,
interesting.
using your own network, it's just going to constantly sync to your. It's just pushing and telling your devices that you're doing this at this present point in time. So obviously, it'll depend on. Hopefully, it doesn't use too much bandwidth, but I don't think it would. It'll be very small files that it's going to be sending it.
But it's going to be internet. It's going to be intranet. So it's not going to be using your download. It's going to be
your
using your own
intranet.
intranet.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So it shouldn't slow anything down because your intranet is typically vastly faster than the internet that you're used to getting from, the cable company.
Yes.
Sorry.
Or your ISP.
Your ISP.
I'm an internet service provider. Oh, cool.
Anyway, I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
Anyway, yeah. So the handoff thing was really cool, and the demo was really nice. How they'll just. Yeah, it's right. You're in the middle of an email on your phone. You go, I'm setting up my computer. What, am I stupid? And you just basically on your computer pick up where you left off. I'm going to go away from Matthew because he keeps holding up random things. It's random objects with Matthew.
You keep leaving it on me, and I assume you're not on my camera, so I'm just kind of picking up. I've got random items on my desk. I'm ADD, and I'm just kind of.
Well, the problem with how Google Hangouts works, the problem with how Google Hangouts works is when I'm clicked on you, I see you. So it just feels like I'm having my normal Skype conversation with you. When clicked on me, I'm on me. So I keep forgetting that it's on you because I'm talking to you, and I keep forgetting that people are watching this. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Well, you see, right now I see you, and I see my YouTube, which is like 30 seconds delayed over there on the left. But I don't see what you're broadcasting live, so I have no idea what you're on right now. I'm just sending you stuff, and I don't know what you're. So anyway, that's Google's got to figure that out because I can't.
Is there a little blue bar, like a border around the bottom right-hand corner? It's on you, so it's on me. That's exactly right. And when I change it to you, you'll see that changes to you.
No, because I can control this. So I can click on me, and that can. Ooh, now that's kind of cool. I can look at me, or I can look at you, but I can't see what you're looking at.
Oh,
I
really?
can't see what you're broadcasting. So yeah, let's just leave it there for the rest of the day. That's kind of cool.
Then move the screen around. Move it around.
Ooh, I used to do this with an old analog video camera, plug into the TV, and you get this kind of effect.
Yeah, that's trippy, man. All right, enough of that. So it doesn't tell you which camera I'm selected. That's kind of silly.
I can't. I got nothing.
All right. Well, just keep guessing.
I'll just keep pulling up random objects, and if you see, you just start yelling out what these items are. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So continue on with the continuity business. Some other couple of big announcements. iMessages on the Mac will now include SMSs. So for your green bubble friends, I love that term. That was great. Green bubble friends who are not using iPhones, so they're Android users mostly. They will now, those messages will come through to your Mac as well if you want them to. And what it's doing is it's actually using your iPhone as a relay. So the message is still coming in through to your iPhone, but then the iPhone's pushing that message to your Mac. So I'm sure it all happens pretty quickly.
And it makes sense because it's still using text messages. I mean, you're still sending a text message to the other person. So why does AT&T care about this? Because you're going to be even using more text messages because you're not going to realize you're using text messages. It's going to feel like chat. But I've been saying for a long time, I love sitting at my computer and I'm sitting there chatting back and forth with you or some of my other iPhone friends, but then my sister texts me and I've got to pick up my phone and do this kind of thing, and it's annoying. So to be able to do it all, basically chat all day long from my computer is pretty spectacular.
Basically, what they've done is they've removed the fact for you need to pick up your phone while you're at home. It can stay plugged into your dock. If you're on your computer, and you don't even have to touch it. It even relays it to your iPad if you want to as well. Yeah. So if you're at home, pick up your iPad, sitting watching TV or whatever, you can text message. You can now receive phone calls. So if you get a phone call, it will again relay it to your Mac and your iPad, so you can actually do like a speakerphone sort of deal, and you get caller ID. So if anyone's calling, you can actually see who's calling you. You can still decline it. You can still send a text message back to them telling them that I can't talk now or whatever those default messages are. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Very cool.
I'm excited. It's a lot of small stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, blah, blah, blah. Yosemite has a lot of visual appeal because it looks very different, but everything else outside of just the general look of it, it's a lot of small stuff, but stuff that if it works correctly, will give a lot of polish to the ecosystem. And they're talking a lot about this on Twit, about how this is just pulling you more into the Apple ecosystem because this only works with Apple devices. And so you've got to have an iPhone for it to sync all your text messages to your computer. And it's really sucking you into this ecosystem, which, if you're in the ecosystem, is good. If you are multi-ecosystemed, if you have several different systems, then it's bad for you. It doesn't help you. You just don't get those features. So as long as you're in the ecosystem, like Jared and myself both are, then it's good for you.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. Just because even if you don't have a Mac, it doesn't stop you from using the Apple products. It's not as nice, not as fun. So there's a couple other things. You've got your notification center, which we have now, which we swipe over from the right, which I don't use a whole heap. But now they've sort of changed the look of it, and they've added widgets in there. So they've ditched your dashboard, which I don't know anyone that uses the dashboard. Do you use the dashboard?
Wait, what's dashboard?
Exactly.
They've got
it's that screen that you accidentally swipe to every now and again.
Oh, yeah. So if I show you my desktop, it's
I've switched it off. You can switch it off.
It's this one over here, right?
Yeah, that's it.
With the calculator. Yeah, no, I agree. Totally.
You've got the default apps on there. They're the default apps, and they haven't moved since you got your Mac. So.
Absolutely, because like you said, it's the screen you go to whenever you don't mean to. When they first did that, 4 or 5 years ago, I was a huge fan of it.
Tiger.
Wow, was that 10.2 or 10.3?
10.4. And that was before they were doing yearly releases. So I'm talking like 2005, I think.
Yeah, long time ago.
My first Mac.
I was a huge fan of that because you could get some really great widgets. You can get some really great different tools. I had a couple of really cool tools that I used a lot. And then they got less and less, and then you couldn't get any tools anymore. And even now, like if you want to download some, you've got
They're there, but there's not many.
No, if you go to the website, there's like 10 of them. It's just like there's just nothing there. It's not worth it because there aren't. Well, okay, there's 428 according to the website. So,
but I bet you they haven't been like. I bet you no new ones come along very often because no one's really using it anymore. So basically, what they've done is they've moved those widgets into the sidebar, which is probably a better place for them. Um, and from I know what they're doing on iOS where it can be part of an app. So I'm wondering whether they're going to be doing the same thing. So if you've got an app, your app can create a widget that's part of the actual app, and you can install it. So
Right.
we'll see. Anyway, I think that was pretty cool. That was a good use of widgets, and so there's some things I'd put in there, some things I wouldn't bother with. If you've got Spotlight can do your calculations, like I use my Spotlight as a calculator all the time. I don't think I'd put a calculator into the sidebar because then I've got to actually click on each number. It's much slower. You know.
Yeah. Well, and you can just do all that from Spotlight. So why do you need
Exactly.
a calculator in the first
It's
place?
faster, which is it's what I do now.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a couple other little changes. Mail's got actually, I wasn't going to mention Mail, but now I will because it's got markup.
Mm-hmm. Markup for photos. So let's say I want to send a photo to Jared. I can draw on the photo. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool stuff.
which is in preview now. But now you're going to
Hmm.
be able to do it. You can just do it straight in Mail. So if
But
someone
but
sends
it's
you a
it's
picture, you can do it straight away.
it's hidden in preview. You've got to really go and look for it. And I never use it because I don't always think about it because it's hidden so much. It's not kind of in your face, and so
Yep.
it's
I
like
mean,
a,
I actually use the signature function in preview. It's I don't know if you
mm,
ever use the signature function. It's brilliant,
nope.
amazing. And now it's in Mail. So someone sends you an email you need to sign, like a PDF. You can just pop your signature and set it straight away and send it straight back. Done.
Great.
Um, and there was some improvements to Safari. It's faster. It's got advanced HTML5 video, which apparently is better for your battery life. Up to 2 hours increase on your battery life, which is for Netflix streaming, which is pretty amazing.
Hmm.
Faster JavaScript, blah 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 blah, and it just looks different. So I won't spend too much time on that. All right, that is Yosemite. And next they talked about iOS 8, which at first I was a little bit underwhelmed. I mean, honestly, it's not going to be what we got with iOS 7 because, well, they've already done the radical redesign. It's basically just fine tuning it.
Hmm.
So they've upgraded Notification Center. That's where you swipe down from the top of your phone. Again, just like Notification Center on the Mac, you can now add in widgets. So these apps can actually create their own widgets to go into Notification Center, which was really cool. So you can actually have like your favorite weather app. If they produce a widget, you can actually have that like a quick glance. Would be great. I'm getting the thumbs up from Matt. He must like that. I called you Matt. Sorry, Matthew.
You know, I think I'll still be your friend after this.
So
Uh,
I have a brother, and his name is Matthew, and I call him Matt. So
yeah,
just
well,
anyway.
I'll try hard. I'll dig deep to forgive you, maybe. Yeah, no, I think this is a big thing, and it's one of those. It needed to happen. It's one of those things that I would assume would eventually happen. They just hadn't done it yet.
Yep.
But then again, iOS 7 was the first time that they had the notification center. So that's just like Apple. We're going to, very slowly roll this stuff out. We're going to do a notification center, but it's just Apple. And then now we're going to open it up a bit more. Now we're going to open it up a bit more. That's very Apple.
Notification Center's been around longer than iOS 7. It was in iOS 6. It just looked different. Remember?
Okay. Okay. I don't, but I'm not going to say you're wrong.
It,
So
it had the that fake fabric look.
all of iOS had the fake fabric look.
Yeah, that's true. Very true. All right, so
I remember that
they've
now.
added that in
Yeah.
there, but you can now also reply to text messages from notification, like from your lock screen.
Yes.
You can accept calendar invitations directly from there. So basically, they've added some more usability features in there to make it easier
And
to quickly reply and stuff like that.
and those third-party apps that can now have a notification, you can
Yep.
have interactions with those as well from Notification Center. So the
Yes.
example they gave on stage was, there's an eBay widget, and it says I've been outbid. You click on it, it says bid. You click on it again, and now you've bid on that item. So
Yep.
you don't have to, you're looking at it all from there, and you're controlling it all from there. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Again, if we'll see how this works out and how well it gets implemented. I'm playing with toys on my desk. Can you tell? I dropped one. It's around here somewhere. Oh well,
Oh well. Um,
I'll
yeah,
find it.
they even showed like you get your drop downs when you get a text. If you're like using your phone, you get a little drop down on top of the tells you a new text message or a
Hmm.
new Facebook notification. They showed you could now like and comment on a message in Facebook just in that little notification. So that was just basically a demo of what you could do. Keyboard enhancements. So Apple's got a new keyboard with something called QuickType, which adds predictive typing suggestions, not just predictive text, but predictive phrases. So it said it learned how you typed and the type of language you used while you're typing. So, for example, someone said they had two examples where someone goes, "The meeting was," and it came up with suggestions, great, really good, exciting, or something like that, and then someone that uses a little bit more colourful language said epic, awesome, and it gave those suggestions. So it was able to sort of tell how you type, and it learned how you type. So that was the first quick type, just to sort of fill in the blanks for you and sort of predict what you're typing. Be
Hmm.
interested to see how it works. And probably the biggest surprise, which actually came later in the keynote, was the fact that they're going to allow to install third-party keyboards, which we never, ever, ever thought we'd see.
Yes.
And I don't think Steve Jobs would have allowed it.
Yes. No, definitely not. And this will be interesting to see where people go with this. I've never had an Android, so I've never had the privilege of using a third-party keyboard. So
Mm.
we'll
And,
see.
and I get why Apple has been funny about it, because it's someone else's keyboard that's going to be recording what you're typing. So that they actually say if you can install the keyboard, and then if the keyboard wants to send that information somewhere, it warns you about that. So you can still decline it, still use the keyboard, but you just won't get any new updates or something like that. I don't know how it works, but
To me, that to me is not a worry to me because they made a big deal about it. To me, the worry is imagine 3, 4, 5 years from now, every person has their own keyboard, and now all of a sudden iOS doesn't look like iOS anymore because you pick up someone else's phone and it has some strange keyboard and you don't know how to use it, and you don't know how to turn it off, and you don't know how to disable it. Maybe it's a swipe keyboard, maybe it's an emoji keyboard, maybe who knows? And so that to me is kind of my worry is, Apple's going to have to control that side of things so that it doesn't get too out of hand.
yeah, I would assume, like currently on your phone, grab my phone.
Hmm.
When you want to type something, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. You're just going to see reflections from outside. Yeah, that's not too
Yeah.
bad. And we've got this button here. Is it backwards for you? Looks backwards on
No,
mine.
no, I can see it.
Uh,
1, 2, 3.
and you can change your type of keyboard. I'm wondering whether that's going to be a compulsory, where you can set, like now you can put your keyboards in, but you can
Yeah,
actually change your
you
keyboard
just
there.
change
So
it. That makes a lot of sense.
yeah, so we've got your English keyboard, and then you can change it to a swipe keyboard there. So if someone hands you a phone, you can easily just switch it back to the normal one. Go from
Right.
there.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If we were smart people, we would download the beta and we would know all of this, but we're not smart people.
Yeah, we just don't want to fork out $99 for faulty software.
But you don't have to anymore. You don't have to pay anymore.
Well, for the Mac, you don't. Well, for iOS, you do.
Are you sure?
Yeah, they're not doing free betas for iOS.
I thought it was. Oh,
No.
well, then I was
Anyway,
wrong.
moving on. Message improvements. So basically, they looked at WhatsApp and went, we want to use that stuff and put it in ours. So that's what they did.
Yep.
So you can now do the group messaging, which you could do now, is a lot improved. You can mute your group messages. You can name them. You can send your location. So if you're in a group and you say, okay, let's all meet together, and then everyone turns on their location, you can see where everyone is. Stuff like that. You can leave conversations, which is cool. You can do not disturb. so you can turn it off at night time. So when I was living in Thailand, we all used WhatsApp. So in the organisation, because it was cross-platform, so it didn't matter if you had an iPhone or an Android phone, you could use it, and so it was very handy for that. So I see a lot of these features in there where you can do voice messaging. I don't know how much we'd use that. I probably used it twice when I was in Thailand. I guess the only time would probably use that is if you're in the car and you don't want to actually type a message. I mean, you don't really want to use Siri either, but you could, send a voice message that way maybe.
Yeah, and I wonder how that's going to work. I wonder how all of this is going to work with different platforms. So let's say I'm in a group text with myself and a friend who has iOS and my sister who has Windows Phone and my brother-in-law who has an Android. How is it going to work if I want to leave the group? Because how are all of these other platforms going to play with this? I don't know if there's a way of...
I don't think it will. I think this is just for iMessage only.
Right. But yeah, that was my question.
Yeah. But I mean, we don't really want to talk to other people if they're not on.
Obviously not. I mean, there are our green bubble friends. We don't. They're over there.
Usually with my green bubble friends, we use Facebook Messenger because it's free. Anyway, moving on. Health kit. That was an interesting one. They've been talking a lot about Health Book, which never came. Man, everyone got so many things wrong with this thing, this keynote. No Health Book. They called it Health, which is the app, and then Health Kit, which is the SDK, software developer kit, and basically is, I mean, how would you describe it? It's like so you have all the different health apps, and they all talk to health apps. So you've basically got all the information from all your different apps in one place.
Yes.
I guess that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah, the more I think about it, when he said we've been working with all of these people on health, and it had this massive screen with about 20 or 30 different icons on it, and now that I'm sitting there thinking about it, I'm thinking, I would bet you $50 that's where all of the rumors came from, was them working with all of these other companies. So it was, all of the leaks that we knew about were from all of the other companies. They weren't from within Apple. And that might be why, of this entire keynote, pretty much the only thing that was leaked was HealthBook.
Yeah.
And if you look at
it wasn't even called HealthBook.
Right. Well, but then again, that might have been a last-minute change. Apple might have changed that, 2 days ago, and told everyone else that it was going to be called HealthBook, and all of a sudden now it's just Health.
Yeah, and it sort of looked a little different to what everyone had this sort of idea that it was going to look like Passbook, but it doesn't.
Right. Yeah. They, I think, made it look more like just one scrolling instead of having sheets.
Yeah. Anyway, it'd be interesting to see how it goes, because I'm kind of interested in that. I've been doing a little bit of a lot more walking than I used to, so trying to lose a little bit of weight there, and so I'm excited about this stuff. So I use Runkeeper as my primary fitness tracking app, which tells me where I walked and how far I walked and whatnot. And if that can work with HealthBook, and then if Apple ever release the elusive, who knows if it'll ever come, iWatch, that should hopefully talk to Runkeeper, or at least talk to the health app anyway.
I also see this as a future play, and what I mean by that is there are some features that Apple comes out with that won't be used in the first year, that aren't even designed to be used in the first 3 or 4 years. And I look at CarPlay, which they announced 3 or 4 years ago and is just now getting into some cars. I think that this is one of those, it's going to take a long time for everyone to buy into it. It's going to take a long time. That they're saying, to me that they're, and I didn't listen close enough to see if this is what they promised, but there's almost a promise of, I go to the doctors, they take my blood pressure, and they automatically upload that information to Mayo Clinic, and then Mayo Clinic kind of forwards it on to my health. And maybe he didn't promise that, But that's the promise. I mean, even if they didn't say it on stage, at some point they have to do that, or else this app is practically useless. Because I'm not going to take my own blood pressure, and I mean I could, but I can't check my. There's so many other things. I can't check my HDL, my cholesterol. I can't do that from home, and so someone is going to have to process that and give it to my health app. And how that's going to happen and when that's going to happen, to me, that's a long play. That's something that's not going to happen for 3 or 4 years.
Actually, you can do some of those things. I used to work at the Apple Store, and we sold a blood pressure armband that works with your iPhone. So they're saying that you're at home, your doctor tells you to measure your blood pressure twice a day. You do that at home, and then the app sends through the results to your doctor straight away. You don't have to write it down. You don't have to call anyone. It just automatically pushes. That's awesome.
You're saying it's going the other way. It's going from me to my doctor.
Exactly.
But again,
you can check your blood pressure, and your glucose level and stuff like that. People do that at home all the time. That little prick things that they prick their finger, and the little machine reads that. I'm positive that someone's made one that works with an iPhone.
Right. I guess my point would be, I don't have anything like that in my house, and I wonder.
I know you don't now.
There
are people out there that will.
And my question to you would be, how many of those iPhone-enabled blood cuffs did you sell? Did you sell a lot of them? Probably not. You probably sold one a week. So
they were pretty expensive.
Exactly. They're not for everyone.
Well, this is a niche market. It's not exactly for everyone, but it's for people.
But Apple's not touting it as a niche market, and Apple's saying this is for everyone. Look at all this cool stuff you can do.
Wow.
But you really can't do because you have to buy a $150 blood cuff for it to work.
Yeah, but it covers health stuff across the board. So it was exercises. Yeah, you can do exercise at home. You don't need to buy a $150 equipment to go for a stroll around the neighborhood.
I'm not disagreeing with you. That's why I'm saying I think this is a long play. I think that this is something that's going to help in the long run, not necessarily something I will get some use out of it when it first launches, but I think it's going to mature. It's going to take some time to fully mature.
Yeah. Oh, sure. It's like the new what do they call it? The HomeKit. Was it called HomeKit?
Yes. Again, another long play.
How cool though? You're coming home in your car, listen to some awesome tunes. Hey Siri, open my garage door.
No. Yes. No, because they have geofencing. You turn down the street and your iPhone goes, "Oh, I'm within range of my house." It automatically opens.
Well, yeah, you can do that too, but maybe I don't want that to happen. What if I don't want to park inside the garage? I'd rather actually tell her to
turn it off. But yeah, the example they gave on stage was you're laying in bed at the end of the night and you say, "Siri, I'm going to bed," and Siri interprets that and says, "Okay, I'm going to make sure that my garage door is closed. I'm going to make sure the spotlight outside's turned on and all the doors are locked." That's pretty cool.
That is cool. I agree, and that's I feel like we're in the Jetsons if that comes to pass.
Yep. Yeah. I think iOS 9. I think iPhone 6. Maybe the 6S is going to unfold into a flying car.
Okay. If you say so. Let's not just get ahead of ourselves there. Anyway.
Too late.
I think it's pretty cool. I like the home automation, although it's something I can't use where I am now. I can see myself one day when I have my own house spending way too much money on that stuff.
Yes, it's very expensive. Yeah, they're the guys on Twit talk about how they love their I think it's Philips Hue, the Hue system.
Oh yeah, very expensive.
From Philips. It's $60 a light bulb, and it's like, who has this kind of money? Like
for a light bulb.
For a light bulb that you can control from your iPhone. Whoop-de-doo. But I think that 10 years from now, it's going to be a lot cheaper.
Down in price.
And again,
exactly.
that's what I'm saying. It's a long play. It's not something you're going to get use out of the first year or two.
So, well, that's the problem I think with the whole Hue system. I think the Hue, it's cool, but it's a multicolored changing light. I just would want it so that I could actually switch the light on and off. I think that
Right.
and maybe dim it. It's got to be a lot cheaper than $60 to do that. And technically, you could just actually get a box that could probably plug into your current light switches, or into your power system here, because there's dimmers now. You got the little dimmer switch on the like we do here, and you can adjust the thing.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That would just require a box plugged into the wall. It wouldn't require different light bulbs. Anyway. Siri's getting some new updates. She's got 22 new dictation languages, streaming voice recognition, shows the results as they speak, which is cool. You get Shazam. You can now just hold down if you're listening to music. You don't have to say Siri Shazam this. You just hold the button down. Music's playing. She gives you results. I use Shazam all the time. It's cool. I like the ability for the iCar where you can just say, "Hey Siri." You don't have to go, "Okay computer."
Okay Google.
Hey Siri, directions home. Stuff like that.
Yes, you can.
Now I know one thing. Thanks, Matt. I know one thing that you wanted is you want phone side Siri, but we still haven't seen the iPhone 6 yet. So I think if they do that, they'll tell us when the phone comes out. So don't get disappointed just yet. Extensibility. This was a good one. This was a big one. The ability for apps to finally talk to each other securely. So, did you like the sound of that? Oh my goodness.
Wait.
I wondered why you've been so quiet, because you've been looking up sound effects. All right, Matthew.
So anyway, I'm going to close that, or else I'll be distracted all night long. So yes, what we're talking about, extensions. I think extensions are going to be the biggest part of iOS 8. Let's see. I have notes here. Extensions. The keyboards are good excuse. The keyboards, custom keyboards, third-party keyboards are a good example of extensions, is what I was trying to say. So third-party keyboards are good extensions. The widgets are extensions. But even on more than that, the ability to share information between apps, but even share apps from within apps. That's all extensionized. So if I'm in one photo sharing app, if I'm in a photo app, halfway through editing a photo, but then I'm like, oh, but I like this other app, and I want to edit, with that effect before I keep going here. I don't have to save the file out, go over there, import the file, do something to it, save it out, come back, and then import it, which I've done lots of times before. Now, if it's all supported, if it all works, then now all I have to do is I'm in this app, I push a button, and then I say, I want to edit in this with this app. That app now brings up its own interface on top of this other app. I can do something, hit save, and then it kind of pushes it back to the old app, all from within that app. So I don't have to switch apps, I don't have to save, I don't have to do anything. It's all works. It just works. Thank you.
That's all I have to say about that. Yes,
I think
that was really good, and they gave that demonstration. That was pretty cool. Plus, you've got they've also demonstrated they're in Safari, and he looks up a website, and it was in Japanese, and Bing Translate has a extension, so he just tapped a few buttons, and Safari automatically, boom. It's in English. It was good.
Yes.
So, be interested to see what developers do with that. Touch ID. Well,
again,
Matthew and I have iPhone 5, so we don't exactly know how this whole Touch ID thing is all about. But we don't have it. But the fact is, when we get our new phones later this year, we'll have that, and we'll have the ability to basically use our fingerprints to unlock things, do online banking, stuff like that. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it was desperately needed. And again,
Mm.
a good example of Apple saying we're going to start slow and then kind of slowly build up. Um, I think it's
Exactly.
great. I think it's something. I think it's something that's going to be a very strong selling point. A very. Here's the thing. Um,
Exactly.
I was thinking about this after I listened to the MacBreak Weekly coverage. There aren't a lot of features in iOS 8 or in Yosemite. There aren't a lot of features that are unique. There aren't a lot of features that you can't already do. I would say the vast majority of these features you could already do in some level, in some way on other operating systems, such as Android or Windows. But to have them all where I can use them now, right? Because before I couldn't use customized keyboards, I couldn't use extensions, I couldn't use what were we just talking about? Who knows? Um, I couldn't use a lot of these other things, and so now that I'm getting them all on my iPhone, I'm excited because now I can
Mhm.
use them. Now it's not just Android has customizable keyboards. Well, now we do too. And yes, granted, Android's done this for a long time, but that doesn't diminish that now I can do it as well. And so I think I know a lot of people are saying right now, well, this is just Android coming to iPhone. That's not a bad thing when Apple has taken some really cool features and has given them to us. Given some cool features that we hadn't had before, and now giving them to us. That's my 2 cents. That's my big rant all day long.
And improving on them too. Most cases, making it
Yeah.
more seamless.
Um, I sent Jared a YouTube video. I don't know if you want to play this YouTube video of every Apple fan while the keynote was on. Let's see if I can find it real quick. This is great. There we go. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this. Oh yeah, great. There we go. Can you hear that?
Should be able to put YouTube straight onto this, can't you?
Oh yeah. Let's see if I push all the right buttons, which I'm not doing very well. Add apps. Where's YouTube? YouTube. Add to video.
I've already set
Oh,
it up. Hold on a second. I'll bring it up.
wow. This is some. Welcome to YouTube and Hangouts. I like how it came up with add. Click on add videos to playlist to search for video. I'm so confused.
Uh,
Okay, so you're getting this now. You're muted, but I'm pretty sure it's going. Uh, the fun the funny thing about all of this to me is this was me during the keynote. Like I actually sounded like this during the keynote, and watching this video for me what was pretty sobering because I kind of saw myself from someone else's eyes, and it
you're muted, Matt. You got to do push to talk.
I did do push to talk.
Anyway, I'm still playing the video. So can you hear it?
The video is paused.
Okay, I'm pausing. Yeah, I'm pausing.
There we go. Now you can hear me. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I sounded like during the keynote, and it was just kind of sobering for me to hear that because I was like, "Wow, did I? Yeah, no, you're right. I did kind of sound like that when that happened." And I hear myself even sounding like that right now.
Yeah,
Let's
as we're talking about it.
and as we're sitting here talking about it. No, really, it's an Android, but Apple will do it better. um, so. Anyway, I had to play that video. I was cracking up and then crying whenever I saw that.
Yeah, that's true. And I think we do sound like that sometimes. Anyway, that's okay. So thanks for that little diversion there. So we were talking about Touch ID. We pretty much said it all. You're gonna be able to use it to open apps, put in passwords, blah 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 stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Family sharing. So this is sort of different. Like now, someone that is obviously married. Um, my wife and I share one Apple ID for purchases, which is, I guess, that's pretty much how most people have done it for years. Um, so we have a separate Apple ID for mail and all that kind of stuff, but we have the same Apple ID for purchases in the App Store and iTunes and stuff like that. So what they're going to do now is you can all have different Apple IDs, up to 6 people in a family. But as long as they use the same credit card, you can now share apps and music and movies and TV shows between each of you, which is pretty cool.
And books. Don't forget about books.
And books, yes, that's true. I use iBooks. Why not? So there's that, and also they've got this new cool parental feature, which I think is very good for parents. If your kid wants to buy an app, he actually has to ask permission through the app, and the parents get a notification that pops up on the screen asking permission for them to buy it, and you can say yay or nay. And as someone said on MacBreak Weekly, there should be a third option that says, "Have you taken out the trash?"
Yes. Have you finished your chores, and only after you finish your chores.
That's right.
Yes.
So that was pretty cool. I like them, and that will be handy for a lot of people.
Yes, as obviously I'm single, and so I don't care.
No, exactly. That's what I was saying. Anyway, awkward. Moving on.
If there are any eligible ladies out there, hit me up.
We have one viewer, and I'm pretty sure that's you.
Well, yeah, but last week's video we had like 10 or 15 people look at it. So, I mean, granted, they probably didn't make it 5 minutes in, but that's not the important part.
That's right.
We
don't care anyway.
13 views. 13 views, baby!
And that was all you.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I heard you. That was... I started playing the video, and I heard a lot of Jared's. It got confusing.
I was going to show you something. Actually, I'm just shooting back to before we were talking about iCloud, I know, but this is the Google storage plan. So Apple is actually cheaper. Oh, no, they're not. No, they're not cheaper. It's 100 gigabytes for $2, and I think Apple are 99 cents for 20 gigabytes. Well, how much was 100? 200 gig was $4.
Yeah.
So it's about the same.
Yeah, you get more for less with Google, but then again, in my opinion, I'm not going to use. I don't use a lot of data. And maybe the only thing would be if I had all my photos up. But even then, right now I don't have all my photos synced. So.
But you will. Oh, you will.
Oh, will I?
I don't know. I will, but the thing is, because they're also announcing they also announced that new Photos app, which is coming next year. And by the way, I think Leo is very wrong when they're saying this is going to replace iPhoto. It doesn't do everything iPhoto does. I don't think it will replace it. It's basically just an app to look at your iCloud photos and do some adjustments. It's not an iPhoto replacement.
I don't know about that because we're still a long way away. We're still a year away from that software coming out. They could do a lot with that software before it comes out.
True, but they would have to add in things like a lot more metadata, which they don't. It didn't seem to have. Also, the ability to order like photo books and calendars and stuff like that. They're quite popular. My mum loves those. So they'd have to add all that stuff in. And if they do, awesome.
Then again, I agreed with Leo about Beats, and look how that went. So.
Yeah, I don't really care about Beats. They can do whatever they want with it. They got the spare $3 billion. They want to waste it on Beats. I don't care. And you never know. Maybe they'll make Beats better now because.
I would rather them waste $3 billion on me than on some rich guys, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, well, we don't know the complete story behind that. I'm assuming Apple's going to keep Beats separate anyway. They've said that.
Yeah.
It's but a bit like FileMaker.
Yeah, and Final Cut Pro. Oh, wait.
What? That was random. SDK.
Well, anyway, go on.
No, that's fine. What are you going to say?
You know they bought Final Cut Pro.
Yeah, I know that. They buy a lot of things.
That was the point that I was making.
Macromedia. I'm pretty sure Final Cut was made by someone anyway.
Who's Macromedia?
That was a company that existed a long time ago.
And then Java bought them, and then Sun bought them, and then Oracle bought them, and now they're gone.
Anyway, then they brought out... Then they came out and said, hey, we've got new SDK and we've got 4,000 new functions.
4,000 new API calls.
API calls, which I'm pretty sure all the developers went, oh, man.
Yeah, there was not applause whenever he announced that.
But you've got the new sharing options, new photo editing options, which are pretty cool, custom actions, which... maybe add a watermark to documents and stuff like that. Notification center, which we've seen. Keyboard, which we've seen. Documents. This is pretty cool. You can now, if you're in Pages or Keynote, all those apps, you can actually call on third-party file storage things like Dropbox, Drive, Google Drive, all those places without, which you couldn't do before. You only had to use iCloud. So I like that. I thought that was good. Camera APIs, so a little bit more access to things like white balance, stuff like that. PhotoKit, Touch ID, which we talked about. HomeKit, HealthKit, CloudKit, all those new things. So the CloudKit one was the new iCloud thing we were talking about before, where you said that Apple hasn't given everything that they promised. I think that's where that will enable that.
Lots of kits.
Yep, new gaming engines. How impressive was that?
Metal.
Yeah, like I'll show you this screenshot. It's probably not going to look too good on the screen, but to me that looks like at first it looks like a photo, and it's not. So,
it's not?
No.
Wow.
Very impressive. Sprite kit, scene kit, metal, blah 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 blah. So the metal thing was basically reduces the overhead of the GPU and CPU, and it works together. Produces better graphics.
So basically it's core animation, but even more to the core.
Yep. And then finally, they blew all the developers away by saying, here's something new for you as well. What's that? And it's called Swift. It's a brand new programming language. Taylor Swift.
Yes.
Apparently, if you do a search for Swift on Google, you'll probably come up with more Taylor Swift than actual Swift. So it's new programming language. It apparently makes it a lot easier for programmers to pull in stuff, and you get this cool information over here that shows you what your app looks like as you're writing it, which is pretty cool.
Designed for safety. They keep saying that over and over. It's designed for safety.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that means. Do you know what that means?
No idea. Swift eliminates entire classes of unsafe code.
There you go.
So I think that they kind of said this on stage. They said, here's a lot of stuff that you used to be able to do, but it would create problems. This won't let you do that. So it's basically it's eliminating I
The
don't know if
bad
safety.
stuff.
Yeah, and safety isn't the right terminology.
It's safe
Um,
code.
it's well, think about it this way. It's like autocorrect, but for code.
Mm.
Now, granted, they already had autocorrect for code, but this is different. This is, think about if you're typing in something wrong, it's gonna, kind of correct it so that you won't let you type in a wrong word. It won't let you miss a
Put in bad
punctuation.
code. Yeah.
And that's not exactly the direct analog, but the idea being it's taking away all of these things that you used to be able to do, bad classes, bad variables, if you didn't initialize it just exactly correctly, then it could cause problems down the road. And it's saying you don't have to initialize anymore. We'll take care of it.
Yeah,
It's stuff
exactly.
like that, I think.
Yeah, it's got this one here which I highlighted. Memory is managed automatically, so there's no memory leaks, which is always a problem in apps. If you've got a memory leak, slow things down, crashing, all that kind of stuff. So basically, it's going to remove a lot of that problems, and you should get safer apps. So
Uh-huh.
seatbelts, basically. We're putting
Yep.
seatbelts into programming and airbags.
Sounds dangerous. And they didn't really touch on it. He kind of mentioned it on stage, but this is iOS and OS 10. So it is
Yes,
for your computer and your mobile device. It's not just for the mobile device.
there it says it right there. Swift is ready for
Yep.
your next iOS and OS X project, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
Well, anything else? Anything to wrap up?
Um,
I think we covered all the main points.
yep. I'm looking at my notes, my very detailed notes here. I'm not seeing anything. I see photo. It says photo. I don't know what that means.
Is that be the photo app? We've already talked about that.
Yeah, and family sharing. Again, I think that it's a lot of. I
Lots
think
of
it's a
small
lot of
stuff, but it
stuff.
was still good stuff.
And when they said it, it was like, yes, this is going to be great. And now looking back, it's like, okay, it's going to be nice. It's like the keyboards. It was like, yes, that's going to be really cool. But now it's like, okay. But I think that, again, I think I kind of said it earlier. There's not. I can't think of any features that are really wow, bang, out of the bag. This is going to be completely life changing. But it's marching forward. It's strong steps forward. About next year, you're going to look back and say, wow, how did I ever get by without customized keyboards or this photo sharing thing or this? It's not like iOS 7 where everything's completely different, and now you are stuck on your own camera.
I'm on you.
No. Oh, you just now switched. Okay. Sorry, I'm watching
There's a
YouTube, and it's because
delay. There's a delay on the
it's
YouTube. It's probably
anyway.
why your image quality is not that good because you're streaming in the background.
It might, but we were having that problem before I started this. I didn't start this till after we started.
Yeah.
Um, I'll turn that off. Fine, it's gone. But like I said, I don't think that it's a lot of big features, but I think it's a lot of small features that you're really going to feel, a year from now.
hmm Yeah, I think, and I think, like I said to you during the keynote, I'm a little bit more excited about the changes to OS 10 than I was to iOS 8 because I guess because OS 10 has a new look to it, so sort of
Right.
anxious to have a look at that. Anyway, I think we're going to wrap it up there, and thanks to anyone that's watching. We'll be back again. We're probably not going to talk about Apple next time. I think we're
Let's
going to go for
not.
something close. Yeah.
Let's talk about something else.
Yeah, maybe a movie. Have you seen any movies lately?
No.
I think you need to go see X-Men.
I need to go see X-Men. No, not X-Men. I need to go see Captain America. X-Men is someone else's movie, and I don't want to support anyone else. But we can talk about that next time.
What?
We'll talk about that next time.
We'll talk about that off air, I think. All right.
Yeah, about that.
Everyone have a great day, and we'll see you again. Oh, before we go, where can we find you, Matthew?
I'm right here. I'm waving at you.
Online.
Online. Katana, Katanna, on the Twitters. So Twitter it up, yo.
Yep. And you can find me at Jared L. Bell. That's JaredLBell on Twitter as well. We'll see you around. Bye.